Hello everyone and welcome back to another single button guide. Today we're going to talk about the Survival Hunter, and as always we're going to talk about the stats, the talents and rotation. This is the quick version of the guide. I will be doing a longer later on, which is probably going to be like a plus an hour, where this one here is going to be between 10 and 20 minutes. So again, we're going to go through the stats, talents, rotation, and after you've watched this video, you'll basically be ready to min-maxing the single button assistant. But let's get to it. So let's talk about the stats. It's a very long time since I've made a video where we actually needed different stats for the raid build and the dungeon build, but I looked it up on different meta websites. I even looked up what people were having on, and it's true. Like it's actually two different stats they are chasing when we talk about the secondary stats. So first of all, of course, as a survival hunter, our main goal is to get as much agility as possible. What I mean by that is you should be trying to get the highest upgrade level on your items. So for example, it could be any item. It could be my weapon here. You can see its upgrade level. It says upgrade level explore on the third line. That basically means if I got an item which was Adventure, Veteran, Champion, Hero, Myth, I would pick it without even looking at the secondary stats. Because it basically, each of the upgrade levels is going to give so much higher eye level that I will pick it no matter what. Because it's going to give me so much more agility that it's going to be worth it. So imagine if I had, for example, let's say that this weapon here was a champion weapon, which you can see over here, which is like in the middle here. This weapon here was a champion weapon. Okay, great. If I then got another weapon which was either explore, adventure or veteran, and they had the perfect secondary stats like, you know, mastery, haste and agility, I would still not pick it because it's a lower upgrade level. It's going to give me so much less agility that agility is going to do so much more damage for me that it's not worth it. Trust me, it's not worth it. But the moment I get an item that is the same upgrade level as the weapon I already, or the item I already have, if I have a champion item and I get another champion item in the upgrade level, then you look at the secondary stats. And now let's talk about the secondary stats. Now that we have the upgrade level, eye level thing in order. So first of all, both for the raid build and for the dungeon build, we are always having mastery first. You might be asking, why? So basically mastery for survival hunters here is quite interesting. Like it's very fascinating, honestly. So basically here, you and your pet deal 21% increased damage and take 3% reduced damage. This bonus is increased by 100% when you're within 25 yards of each other. So basically what that means is normally you have versatility. So every time you get 1% more versatility, you get 1% more damage and a 0.5% damage reduced. Like you take damage like 0.5% less damage. What mastery does, it does the same thing actually. Each mastery percent you get is increasing mastery damage. So, you know, if I have 20% more mastery, I deal 20% more damage. And my pet as well. And the pet as well. It's very important that we also mention the pet. But the thing is, this bonus is increased by 100% when you are within 25 yards of each other, you and your pet. So basically when you are close to your pet, like I am right now, you get this buff here. The bond between you and your pet is stronger, granting you 100% increased effectiveness of mastery spirit bond, which basically means now each percent of mastery is doubled. So that means, yes, it says here that I'm dealing 21% more damage because of my mastery, but no, it actually increases the damage by 42 because it's doubled. As long as you're standing close to your little, your little dog or whatever animal you're using, you will have doubled of the damage you get from mastery, which is insane. So that is why no matter what, we just always want to have mastery. Again, of course, the upgrade level is the highest. You want to have the highest upgrade level. So if you got a champion item and that was the highest upgrade level, then, keep trying to get better items until you get another champion item or higher upgrade level that also has mastery. But again, mastery is just omega. Literally, I could end the video here with the stats and just say, just try to get mastery. Then we have the pack leader and the sentinel. When it comes to raid, we're using pack leader. When it comes to dungeon, we're using sentinel. That's just how it is. It's the meta right now. Basically, why, I'm just going to try to make it short. I don't really want to like talk about this for ages. Basically, why we want to use haste and pack leader is because it's going to give you more bombs, it's going to give you more kill commands, it's going to give you a lot of like spells that is going to increase your single target damage, since it's a build that is all about doing single target damage on raid bosses. So it's all about just getting more resets, more takes, more. So you know, you can reset your spells by having faster spells. When you have haste, you reduce the cooldown on a lot of spells. You know, all the spells you basically have that has like a green cooldown is also reduced by haste. So it's all about getting more damage out faster with the raid build. Then we have crit, and then we have versatility. Again, crit is just, you know, it can make the higher crit you have, the bigger chance you are like, you know, there's a chance for your damage is in doing double damage. And versatility, as we just talked about, increases damage and reduces damage you take, which is great for solo content. So if you're like a person who really want to just do like solo content, you could go with a lot of versatility, since it also reduces the healing you do, the damage you take, reduces that damage you take, stuff like that. But if you still want like on paper dealing most damage, you don't want versatility. Then we have dungeon build. The reason for why critical strike is over haste in this one here is actually because we are having so many. When you're in a mythic dungeon, or if you're in a dungeon, well, in a delve and so on, there's a lot of mobs attacking you, and Survival Hunter has a lot of like damage over time abilities we can cast on them. And from what I can read, the different meter builds, why they want is because they want all these 100 dots we have going on to basically critical strike, dealing more damage in the shorter time. They don't care about casting many spells out at the same time, because they're just going to reapply the same dots. But we care about all the dots dealing more double damage, which is quite nice. So again, I double checked it, triple checked it, and it looks like it is what it is. That both specs needs mastery first, and then you have the raid build, which really loves haste, and the dungeon build who really loves critical strike. You could try, you know, do like a mix, but I also see a lot of people saying, you know, that you should try on the dungeon build to get as much crit as possible. But yeah, again, go for agility, go for with the highest upgrade level, go for mastery, always try to always get mastery, and then it's kind of up to you if you want to have more haste, to have like a faster, smooth rotation, or if you just want all your dots to deal double damage, you know, it's kind of up to you. Let's move on. So when we talk about talents, as mentioned in the stats, basically for the dungeon, delves, any gameplay you basically do, we're going to be using this build here called the dungeon build, where we are using Sentinel. It's a great spec for like doing multiple damage. It's a great like AoE spec we're using. Basically, you know, we're kind of using butchery over flanking strike. We're also using the left side here instead of the right side where the raid build is using. Where we, for example, have Fury of the Eagle and also Ruthless Marauder. Just overall, it's a really great build that works for dungeon, delves, open world content, basically any content in the game. Then we have the raid build, which is using pack leader, which is more about dealing direct instantly damage to your raid boss, you know, your target. Where this build here is more about, for example, using Mongoose Bite, and we have like Spearhead, and we are using, for example, flanking strike instead. The keybinds down here is totally the same, because all the spells that we change is inside the single button assistant, so there's no gameplay difference from your side. It's still going to be the same kind of gameplay. Of course, if you didn't use single button assistant, there would be different spells, but yeah, it's yeah. So basically, this spell here, this spec here is all about dealing direct damage to the boss best as possible. And yes, don't ask me why, but pack leader is just the one that deals best single target damage, and Sentinel one is the one that deals best multiple target damage. But again, that's the two builds. And again, you can find both of the builds on my Discord, where there will be the export key for you to basically get the spec in case you want them. So when it comes to rotation, the rotation for the Survival Hunter with single button assistant is interesting, especially when it comes to the dungeon build, which is the one we're using right now, testing right now here against these bots, which is because, for example, we would like to apply, whenever you use Raptor Strike, it's going to apply Serpent Sting, which is going to deal some damage over time, like it's almost 300k over 12 seconds. When you apply it one more time to the same target, it will spread up to 4 additional targets, which is quite nice, within 8 yards. The problem with the single button assistant in this case here is that it almost never uses Raptor Strike because it always prioritizes using cooldowns like Kill Command, Wildfire Bomb, Fury of the Eagle, Butchery. And all these cooldowns, they keep resetting, they keep being refreshed and stuff like that, so it almost never gets to actually apply the Raptor Strike. Also in the dungeon build, I'm using a macro. You don't have to use this macro if you don't want, but I'm using this macro here because what it basically does is we have this talent here called Fury of the Eagle. When you cast it, you will be standing for 3 seconds, just like casting spells. And if you keep pressing 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, it will basically cancel the spell, which is not good because this one here deals 2.9 million damage, which is a lot. So you really don't want to cancel that spell. That is why I have made this macro here, which is basically saying if we are casting Fury of the Eagle, then do not cast single button assistant. So you can see this one here will not cast it. Then I just added the normal single button assistant next to it so I can see what spell it's about to be to use. But as you can see here, when I actually target a target, it will not use my Raptor Strike, it will actually use my cooldowns. We should be using Coordinated Assault after pressing the single button assistant for like 1 or 2 times. So you know it's going to be casting Wildfire Bomb, and that's fine to use like the assault, the Coordinated Assault after that. Normally you kind of like have a rotation where you kind of like time spells, but we can't do that with the single button assistant. So my advice would be like something like when you actually start the rotation, first of all, of course, use Hunter's Mark. You're going to deal 5% more damage to it as long as they have their health is above 80%. So, you know, between 100 and 80%, you're going to be dealing about like 5% more damage. I think it is, right? You deal to the target by 5%, yeah. So always cast Hunter's Mark. I mean, if it's in a dungeon with a lot of small trash mobs, you might find it annoying to keep reapplying it on different mobs because you can only have it active 1 time. So you might want to just save it for like a boss fight, but it's up to you. So basically what I would do is, you know, I would get ready, I would start casting single button assistant, so it casts a Wildfire. Then I would use my number 2, which is the Coordinated Assault, and then keep pressing 1. As you will notice now, it's using all my cooldowns here. It's using Wildfire Bomb, Coordinated Assault, Wildfire, Explosive Shot, Fury of the Eagle, Butchery, Wildfire Bomb, Explosive Shot, Kill Command. But now it used a 1-time Raptor Strike, which isn't good enough because it only now added my Serpent Sting damage over time to this one target here. I actually also want it on the multiple targets. So the workaround you could do for this is you could technically put Raptor Strike somewhere on your keybinds. Like you could, instead of having Harpoon here, we could also like remove Harpoon and put it there, because I mean, Harpoon is really much just like a PvP spell after all. So what you could do is like you could do like something like opening with the single button assistant, using Coordinated Assault, and then you could cast 2 very quick Raptor Strikes, and then ignore, you know, Raptor Strikes, and just like flow out, use your normal single button assistant, just let it go. But the reason for why we wanted to use twice Raptor Strike is because we wanted this Serpent Sting dot to be on all the mobs. Like, you know, you can see Raptor Strike, and then it like applies it to all of them, which is very nice. So that would just be like that. That's just a little recommendation from me. You don't have to put down Raptor Strike here. You could also just like, you know, put back Harpoon and get it away, and then hope that the single button assistant is gonna use it for you. But honestly, it's very, very rarely using it. Then we of course also has, if I can somehow get out of combat, we also have the raid build, which is using Mongoose Bite, for example, and Spearhead and so on. In this build here, it still believes I'm in combat. In this build here, it's way more about single target damage. So we have like a lot of single target damage abilities, but all of them is still inside the single button assistant, so don't you worry. So again, the same rotation here would be, we still have like the Serpent Sting, but it should automatically come because it will be using Mongoose Bite. I do know Mongoose Bite keeps increasing its damage, you know, every time you use it. So sometimes people say you need to be spamming Mongoose Bite after each other, but we kind of just need to do whatever the single button assistant tells us. So again, for the bosses, I will be using Hunter's Mark. I will be using my Spearhead, then Coordinated Assault, and now I'm going to be like spamming my single button assistant. And now you can see it used Hunter's Mark, Spearhead, Coordinated Assault, Wildfire, Flanking Strike, and it kind of goes through. It still hasn't used my still hasn't used a Mongoose Bite yet, but you can see it's very, very happy for using kill command. In my opinion, it's a bit too happy for using the kill command. I think we could be spamming more Mongoose Bites, but yeah, it just doesn't. So again, like overall, it works fine. It works overall fine, but you could still like improve it a lot by using, you know, more Mongoose Bites, for example, because, you know, kill command only deals 200k damage, where a Mongoose Bite will deal 400, almost 500k damage, and it keeps increasing its damage. But yeah, so again, this build here is one of those where single button assistant is a bit funny, but still, it still works overall fine. It still does damage and so on. You might even, for this rotation here, when it comes to the raid one, we might even like want to maybe use the Coordinated Assault first, because what it basically is going to do is it's going to be increasing like we're going to be dealing more damage after this. You can see when I actually use it, we're going to be dealing more damage. You and your pet's bond strength increasing you and your pet's damage by 20, and then you might want to use after that Spearhead to actually get like a bigger bleeding damage out. So like you could say, like for the dungeon build, it might be best to actually start with the Coordinated Wildfire Bomb and then Coordinated Assault. But for the raid build, it might actually be worth it to use Coordinated Assault first, so that when you actually use your Spearhead, it's going to already have that 20% increased damage. But again, so yeah. But I mean, that's basically the rotation. We have Coordinated Assault, which should be using kind of the opener, and then whenever it's ready again after 1 minute. We have a single button rotation, which works fine. It uses all the cooldowns, like it actually uses all the cooldowns. The only problem we have is that it doesn't use Raptor Strike or Mongoose Bite very often, which can be a bit annoying sometimes. Like even now, we actually have I even have Kill Shot. I can use Kill Shot right now if I wanted. Where's my Kill Shot there? So we actually had Kill Shot before. We could be using Kill Shot, but it didn't want us to use it because it really prioritizes kill command over anything. Whenever Kill Shot is ready, it's just like, yeah, let's do it. Let's well, not Kill Shot. Let's kill command. Let's do it. So it's just like suspiciously happy. Like even now, I can use Kill Shot and deal 1.1 million damage, but I just don't want to do it. Like it really don't want to do it, even though it says here that Kill Shot is inside a single button assistant, but it doesn't want to do it. So again, kind of like the Fire Mage rotation, it uses an okay rotation. I'm not proud of saying it's perfect, but it just doesn't use any Raptor Strikes, Mongoose Bites, and it doesn't use Kill Shot, as we can see as well, which can deal quite a lot of damage, you know, whenever like it's actually ready, especially when we have this one here where Kill Command has 10% chance to create Death Blow. That's cool. We could be spamming a lot of like, you know, kill commands, and it keeps resetting the cooldown of our Kill Shot, but it doesn't use it. So even min-maxing, you might even have to like drag it down, Kill Shot, and you might even have to drag down your Mongoose Bite as well. But I mean, now we kind of now I'm like kind of like in the space where I'm like, why are we using the single button assistant then when we actually have to use all our spells manually anyway? That can be discussed. But again, if you're just a low-key player who just want to have fun, run around looking like a melee warrior with your pet, that's fine. Just use this. It's all good. But don't expect with the single button assistant to be the top damage in a raid or something like that, because yeah, Blizzard, they need to fix it. And funny enough, the single button assistant doesn't work for Survival Hunter on Midnight Beta at all. Like at all, it's totally broken. Like it keeps using only kill command. That's the only thing it does. So there's definitely something suspicious going on with survival hunters and the rotation. Besides that, just now, I mean, since I have your attention, we also have a harpoon, which is basically a spell that makes you like go to your target, kind of like a charge. We also got disengage, which makes you jump away. Two great spells like get out of fire and stuff like that. We also have muscle, which is our spell here we're using for interrupting. So in case, imagine this one here, this boss was casting a spell, we can interrupt them. We also have freezing trap, which is a great way not to interrupt bosses because they don't care about freezing traps. But if if you either have like a mob you don't want to have to fight for the next minute, you can freeze them, or you can interrupt them as well with it. And we also have Hunter's Mark, again dealing 5% more damage or 80% HP. We also have Survival of the Fittest, which is basically just gonna give you 30% reduced damage for like 8 seconds. Sadly, it doesn't heal like the Dark Ranger does with the Beastmaster or Marksmanship. And then we also got our self-healing spell, which is instantly healing you 30% of health, like just instantly 30% health in your pet, and then it will heal you for 12% over 8 seconds, which is quite nice. Also Aspect with Cheetah to run faster, Aspect with Turtle, which is kind of like a bubble, paladin bubble, and it will deflect all attacks that is going to happen once you have this on. And the current attacks you have on, like debuffs and stuff like that, is reduced by 30%. And you cannot attack while you have it on. We also got Bursting Shot, which is basically another interrupting spell. The reason for why we have this spell here is to interrupt. So imagine you had like a few mobs, trash mobs, so they all casting spell at the same time, then you use Bursting Shot and you basically push them all. We also have Intimidation, which is a stun spell. It goes stun them up, again doesn't work on a boss, but it works on different mobs. And then we also have Implosive Trap. So basically, the Implosive Trap here, what it does is it will hurl to fire location that explodes with an enemy approach, causing them to take 50k damage and knocking all enemies up. So it's another like interruption spell that's basically gonna interrupt them. We also got Misdirection, in case like you want to help the tank, getting aggro pulling, you can use Misdirection on the tank, and now the next 30 seconds, all the tank does. And actually, I think actually it's gonna be on for 30 seconds, but when you actually start attacking, then it's gonna change down to like only 8 seconds, I believe. Isn't it 8 seconds? I think, it's something like that. And then we got Flare. If someone is in stealth, you can find them. We also got Camouflage, great spell for like helping you to move around corners where mobs don't see you. But the cool thing with Camouflage is that it also heals you for 2% of your maximum health every 1 second. We also got Binding Shot. It's mostly great for like PvP, but we kind of, we could also not take, honestly, we could also remove it and pick something else. But basically, Binding Shot, if you use it on a mob and they move away from the arrow, they're gonna get stunned again. It's just like you just have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 with Binding Shot that can basically interrupt mobs, which is quite nice. We also got another cooldown called Aspect of the Eagle. It basically increases your Mongoose Bite and Mastery Spirit Bond to 40 yards. So that basically means I would be able to actually use Mongoose Bite from here. If I use it, then I could actually be spamming Mongoose Bites from this location here, which is quite nice. And Feign of Death basically makes all enemies think you're dead, so they're gonna run back to where they started, or you lose all aggro. And we also got Tranquilizing Shot. If the boss, for example, is enraging, not all enrages, like, the enrage of the end of the boss because you didn't kill it fast enough, but like other enrage effects, you can technically just remove the enrage effect, but also it would kind of remove one magic effect, which is quite cool. And then, of course, we have Med Pet to heal our pet. So yeah. That's basically it. I hope you enjoyed this guide, even though I have to admit that single button assistant is not very efficient for survival hunters, since that it keeps using like Wildfire Bomb and kill command, and kind of ignores kill shot, and doesn't use Mongoose Bite pretty much, and it doesn't use Raptor Strike to apply poisons. So it's not the best. Like, it would definitely be in the bottom with Fire Mage if I had to do like a tier list for single button assistant, but it's still fine. It still works, if you know what I mean. You can still play it and have fun, but you're not going to be top damage. If it happens, I mean, that's pretty cool, but it shouldn't happen. Let me say it that way. So thanks for watching. Next video is probably going to be the Affliction Warlock. I'm just kind of like throwing out all the remaining guides quickly so we can have them before Midnight Beta really like finishes up, and I have to start working on all the builds for the next expansion. So we're just gonna like quickly get out all the specs we are missing, which is Survival Hunter, Affliction Warlock, Augmentation Evoker, and can you remember the last one? But there's one more. Oh yeah, Subtlety Rogue. But yeah, feel free to like the video, subscribe, comment if you want to support the channel, and if you want to support even further, feel free to become a member, a YouTube member. There you can unlock like perks like badges next to your name. Your name is going to be in the end of the video, like a credit, and there's going to be some exclusive behind-the-scene content. So yeah, thanks for watching, have a great day, and I'll see you in the next guide.